Hey guys, and welcome to a how-to video. Hey guys, I'm Top Table Steve, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm making a display board for my Dunlending army for Middle-earth strategy battle game. Now, you don't have to play Middle-earth strategy battle game to use these techniques. You can use them to make a board for any system or army that you want to do. You may just have to change a couple of things, maybe changing the grass scatter to be like a Martian sort of planetary scatter or something like that. Whatever you choose, but basically the groundwork and everything else that goes into it is exactly the same. The only thing that you need, other than all the normal modelling materials that I'd use in my videos, is one of these, which is basically a photo frame. This is an 18-inch by 12-inch photo frame. It's quite a big one because my arm is quite big, but you can choose a smaller one if your arm is smaller, whatever suits your build really. So without further ado, let's get the camera down on the table and I'll show you how I do it. Okay guys, so as you can see straight off the bat, what I've done, I've covered the actual picture frame in masking tape, and this is to stop any of the materials that we're going to use during the build to get on the outer frame, and us having to clean it all and spend ages trying to get it back up to how it should look. So we cover it in masking tape just to keep it clean. We're then going to get a craft knife and we're going to score the area. Now it probably will be an MDF sheet. And the reason we score it is because anything that we want to put on here now, we want it to stick, so we're just giving it a little bit of a rough surface to stick to. And that's it. From this point now, we're going to start putting on the different well, the higher and the lower levels. So I don't want it just to be a flat board. I want, you know, like little slight hills and things like that, maybe some divots. For this I'm going to use some XPS foam, just some offcuts that I've got, and I'll be using a foam cutter to cut it. So I want a hill in this corner. In fact, I might have it that way. Obviously we don't want the square edges, so all we will do is get our foam cutter and start taking the edges off, like so. And I'm going to do this all the way around just to create a hill, and I'll do another couple of smaller hills, and then we'll come back and I'll show you where I am up to. So as you can see guys, I have cut out my foam kind of hilly areas, and they're just dry fit, they're not stuck on at the moment. I'm going to stick those on in a moment with some Gorilla Glue. As you can also see, I've marked out with marker. Give me a rough sort of visual representation of where I want things to be. So I'm going to have kind of a burnt out house here, which is going to be like a Rohan farmstead, a bit of a dirt path coming up here, and I kind of want my Dunlendings to be sort of the way I'm going to place them is like they're running in from the corners, and you know the farmstead's going to be on fire and things like that, and they'll attach the farmstead and then they're running off into the front. And that's based the rough idea that I've got. I've got some marks here where I'm going to put some rocky outcrops and things like that. So yeah, it's really basic design, nothing sort of too technical. I'm going to keep it really simple, but it's going to really come to life when we start putting the ground cover on and adding a bit of colour and a few details and weather in it. So I'll get these things stuck down now onto the board with some Gorilla Glue, and then we will move into the stage of texturing the groundwork. So yeah, I'll come back in a second. Welcome back guys. As you can see, all my hills are stuck down. We're going to get some compound down on the board now, which will help strengthen it and smooth out all these edges and things like that, and give us just a nice base to start putting ground cover on. You can see my beard's got a little bit, I'm in a different set of clothes. I've continued on from what I started a couple of weeks ago with this. Kind of the world's gone crazy since I started doing this with the coronavirus and everything like that. So yeah, I'm now on lockdown, so I have no excuse. I'm going to get a lot of videos done, this being one of them, which I've been meaning to finish for a long time. So at least small positives can be taken from being locked down. So I'm going to go and mix up some of the compound, and then we'll come back and start putting it on the board. So here we go, we have the compound Swaptamol mixed. I'm going to start applying it to the board now. And I'm going to pretty much cover everything, but I'm especially going to make sure that the joins where the foam structures meet the baseboard itself is nice and blended in. That's what I'm going to concentrate more on. And as you can see here, we're not overly worried about overspill, because that's why we put the masking tape down. We can sort that out, that's not a problem. So I'm going to continue blending this in. I'll speed the camera up because it's very boring if you're just watching. And yeah, this will start taking shape now. A little box of tricks. I've got some pre-prepared rock moulds, so I'm going to start whacking these on in different areas to look quite cool. So I think pop that one there, and I'll use the sculptor mould to blend it in. Right guys, so we're at the next stage. As you can see, I've put together one of the GW Rohan houses, damaged it up a little bit, made it look burnt. I started to paint it. That's almost done. It was just on here for there. I marked out on the board where it was going to go, put a load of debris inside, a little fireplace and things like that. I'm going to paint that up at the end. Just add a little bit of detail, but yeah, so I just added a load of rubble, some gravel and sand and things, and I've painted over, undercoated everything using different shades of brown. You don't have to do this, you could go fully brown if you want. I've just done it to highlight and low light. It's probably all going to get hidden, to be fair. So the next stage is going to be, before we start putting the colour on the ground cover, is putting on kind of the soil colour, and for that we're going to use a mix of grout and soil from the garden. You could use, you know, like a bag of peat that you get from garden centre and things like that. Mix it together with the grout. I'm then going to put it in this shaker, which I've put little holes in, as you can see. Open that up, pop some in there, and this is all sieved through, so I know it's really fine. Yeah, put that there, put the lid back on. Make sure it's tight on, you don't want that dropping off. There we go. And then I've got some watered down PVA. It's probably about 30% water, 70% PVA. And we're just going to do this in segments. So I'm going to start whacking the PVA on, like so. And I'm going to avoid getting PVA on the rocks that I've put on. Just going to go around there. Like I said, we're going to do segments. So we're not going to try and do too much in one hit. Don't rush it. The more care you take at this stage, the better your eventual look will be. But obviously you want to get this grout on there before the PVA starts to dry. So I'm going to do like we'll break the board into sixes and do like this. And as I do the scatter, just so that you're aware, I'm not going to scatter right to the edge of where I'm putting the PVA. I'm going to leave that for the overlap, which I'll explain in a second. Basically, if you go right to the edge when you try and put your next lot of PVA on, you just end up picking up a lot of the scatter. So we get our homemade shaker, if you like, and we're just going to start putting it on. Again, trying not to go directly to the full edge of where the PVA is. We're just going to stop about an inch from it. If you go over it, it's not the end of the world. It just if you, by not going over it, makes your life a little bit easier. So that's the first bit done. We'll now do the next one, and this is the bit that I mean, so I can go up to where I put the PVA before, and I'm not picking up all the grout that I've just laid. So we'll get this on. It's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the board done in the grout. And I'll speed the camera up for you just to show you the process. Okay, so my layer of grout soil is on the board now. We're going to let all that set, but before we do, what we're going to do is we're just going to get a clean brush, and we're going to brush any grout off the rock area and off the masking tape at the side. We're going to pull the tape off. We will keep taking the tape off the sides and reapplying. The reason for this is when masking tape gets wet and the adhesive on masking tape gets wet, if you try and keep wetting it and it dries, wetting it and it dries, when you try and get it off, it's going to be an absolute nightmare, and you'll need solvent to get it off, which could discolour the framework of the picture frame. So whilst it's still wet, we're going to take it off, and then we'll reapply it when everything's dry again, and we'll move on to the next stage. And now that part's done, we just wait till it dries. Right guys, so as you can see, the grout and soil mix has dried, and it's gone. It's very hard. It's going to be very hard wearing. It's solid, which is exactly what we want. A lot of it you're not even going to end up seeing when this is finished, because the ground cover that we're going to put down is going to cover it. But what it does, it creates like a real nice, realistic transition as your ground cover gets thinner, because it looks like there's real soil underneath. And the other benefit is, as you're playing games on it, you wouldn't do it on a display board, but if it was a board and you're playing games on it, and the ground cover starts to wear away when you're moving models or rolling dice, whatever, it's brown underneath, so it starts to look still realistic with mud underneath, rather than it being like a white or a light grey sort of covering underneath, the same as the modelling compound. So yeah, so it's a really good idea to do that. But the main thing is that it makes it hard wearing, which is what you want. So as you can probably see, I've started to paint the rocks in black. I'm going to do a lot of this black now, and then I've got different greys, just hobby paint, yeah, I'm just going to dry brush some black areas, dry brush the rocks, put some different coloured washes on. There's only going to be light greys going on the dry brush of the burnt internal of the house and the fireplace and things like that, because it would be all charred and smoke damage and things like that. And it's going to be, you're not really going to see in there, to be totally honest with you, but it's just for that effect, for the bits that you can see. So I'll crack on with that, and then we'll get on to the next stage. So majority of the dry brushing done, I will go back and hit bits up towards the end. The black paint in the ruin is still wet, so I'm just going to leave that for the time being. I'm not going to do any dry brushing in there. As you can see now, I've got some of my old washes. These are great, blues, greens, off browns, things like that. I can't find my Devlin mud, which is my favourite, but I can't find it. It is around somewhere, so I'm just going to stick with what I've got here. And we're just going to randomly put this on the rocks, just to break up that grey and black a little bit. So we're going to do that now. So we're just going to let that dry a little bit, and then what we're going to do is I have a pre-mixed black wash, and then once that's dry I'm going to just hit it with that. Then I'll hit another couple of layers of dry brush, and then that's pretty much done. So I'll come back once I've done those stages. So as you can see now, they're not fully dry, but my mindset here is thinking spray the black wash over now, and it'll blend in with all the colours that are already on, and getting a nice, I don't know if you can see the tone, I don't know how well it's coming out on camera. So yeah, I'll hit it up now, and then you know, I can always go back over it again. So we'll give it a go and see. This is what building terrain's all about. Like, try it, see what works, see what doesn't work. So yeah, just get some of the black wash on, and see how that dries. Okay guys, so as you can see, I have re-masking taped the edges. The rocks have come out really, really nice. I'm probably going to give them another dry brush for a couple of different layers of grey. But pretty much as they are, they're looking great. When you get in there close, you can see the greens, you can see the blues, the browns, looking really natural. So that's cool. So next stage is, that's just reminding me when I take that house out, I do need to dry brush that a little bit, but it looks all right, it looks good. I'm happy with it. So now we're going to start coming in with some flocks, different shades. I'm currently using bits from Woodland Scenics. I am going to be using stuff from Geek Gaming, from Luke's APS. I just want to get through this stuff that I've got first, still left from Woodland Scenics, and then I am going to give the Geek Gaming stuff a go. From what I can see and what I hear, it is good stuff. Before I start laying flock down, I want to try and remember that I do want like dirt paths in place, paths that the Dunland is going to be running through, and paths coming away from the farmstead. So to do that, I'm just going to mark out roughly, very lightly, with some light pigments where the paths will be. This isn't necessarily how they're going to look when finished, but what it does is it gives me a visual reminder of where the paths are when it comes to flocking. So hopefully there now you can see roughly where I've put the paths. It's fairly noticeable. I've not gone too crazy with it. It's just to give me an idea of where not to flock. And what I'm going to do is, after the flocking's done, I'll be going back in again with the soil and grout mix, and hopefully going to create like a muddy path type texture. So I'll show you how to do that shortly. Right, let's get flocking. I'll speed the camera up on this bit because you've seen it all before. Mix down PVA with water and start applying your flocks how you see fit. Let's do it. Okay, so that's the first parts of the flock on. I've just removed any flock from any of the rock areas now. I'm going to give it a quick layer of watered down PVA just to seal everything down so that it doesn't blow away on the board, or when we move the board all fall off. So I'll go ahead and do that now. So as we can see guys, it is really starting to take shape now. The coloured flock's gone on. I've added a little picket fence to the side of the house. I'm going to just start putting some detailing on, and then we're almost there. It is detailing now, and you get to the point where you think, right, is that enough? Do I carry on? Is that enough? Do I carry on? And you do it until you're happy. So I'm going to start putting details on. I can show you in later videos more in depth about detailing, and it's just to make things pop and stand out and look a little bit more natural. So I'll crack on with that now. So we'll just get some of the excess floor covering off the edge of the board, and then we'll give this another spray with watered down PVA to seal it all down, and then we're into the last phase of detailing. So guys, this is it. What do you think? I think it looks pretty cool. First time doing a display board, so I didn't want to go too adventurous. I used some pre-made terrain. I've put a little flickering tea light inside there to emulate fire. Got some teddy bear fur, sprayed it with greys and blacks to replicate smoke, and obviously when dressing it I put some dead livestock on and things like that. So just little touches. Added the fence, broken down part, and once the model's on it, I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. The one thing that I do need to add to it, which I can't get because of the lockdown, is a plaque. I'm going to get a plaque at the front. I'm not sure what it's going to say yet, but it's going to say something Dunland-esque. So yeah, that'll look quite cool. What do you think? Make sure you comment below. Is this something that you'd have a go at yourself? I think using the cheap picture frame from Amazon was a really good idea. It gives me a nice border, and yeah, it just finishes it off well. I think this will look cool. I was toying with the idea of drilling 25mm holes and filling them so that the bases slot on, but unfortunately my army was already based. Maybe in a future video I'll do another display board with an army that's yet to be based, and I'll do it so I slot all the bases in, and I can finish them off the same as the board, so they tie in perfectly with the board. They wouldn't have tied in if I drilled the holes. You would just had, a lot of my bases are brown with tufts on, so you would have had brown circles everywhere, which would have looked a bit silly, but I think this just looks really cool. So yeah guys, display board, is it something you'd do? Is this the kind of video that you like to see? Make sure you comment below, and make sure you help us out below by joining the Facebook group, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. We also have a Patreon, which really helps us do these videos and sort of keep them flowing as regular as possible, really. But yeah, that's it from me. I'm going to get on now because I've got some more filming to do on different projects, which no doubt you'll see in the next few days. So stay safe guys, keep washing your hands, and yeah, I'll see you soon.